What's up, Mels? Welcome to episode 3 in season 1 of the All Talk Sports Show. Today, to start off, we will be discussing some news about the NBA draft, potential draft rumors that we're hearing inside of the top 10, and then Rick and I both made mock drafts, so we'll be breaking down our top 10s. To start off, the Hawks are looking to move up since they have 6 picks in the entire draft. They also have picks 8 and 10 in the top 10. Teams that they've been looking to move up with is the Pelicans. They offered the Knicks a deal. The Knicks declined, but they're trying to move up. Next, Cleveland and Washington are trying to move down for more picks as they're both beginning to start rebuilds, especially since Washington is trying to move Bradley Beal. Phoenix might trade their number 5 overall pick for a number 6 overall pick for a veteran point guard since they don't like Kobe White and they only like Darius Garland. Darius Garland is also in serious consideration for the Knicks to take him. The Pelicans want to move up to number 2 to take Barrett and pair him with Zion, although I don't think it's realistic that happens. The Pelicans also are interested in acquiring 8 and 10 from the Hawks for the number 4 pick. And then now we'll break down the top 10. Rick, give your top 10.
All right, so I think it's just a given. The number 1 overall pick to the Pelicans is Zion Williamson. And I really don't think you really don't have to think about it. He is unbelievably athletic. He can seemingly do it all. He showed he's a smart player, was the best in the country this year, active defender, always hustling, and I can really see his rebounding ability. It's going to be hard to challenge that guy underneath. I'm guessing number 1 for you is the same as well.
Yeah. Best player in college basketball. Can create his own shot well. Can jump out of the gym. Needs to learn how to shoot the ball better and needs to lose weight because you'll never last in the NBA weighing 285 pounds.
At 6'8".
With that athleticism, jumping that high, grabbing rebounds, and scoring the basketball. No way.
All right, my number 2, I have Ja Morant. He's phenomenal point guard. And he has displayed league-level driving and passing ability. He can create his own shots very well. And, that's my reason why he's going to be number 2.
He's probably the best point guard in college basketball. He's extremely athletic, and he played well in the tournament, which is kind of important because, playing against best competition, it's, most competitive part of the year. So playing good in the tournament, makes the most sense to judge a college basketball player. So, yeah, obviously him going number 2, unless there's a trade for this pick, but I don't see one happening. Pelicans are pretty set on taking Ja Morant. Or the Grizzlies, sorry.
I have number 3. I have Barrett going. Barrett's a really smart player as well. He can be very physical. He could drive the lane. He could finish over most guys. His jump shot needs a little bit of work, but he averaged the same amount of points as Zion. And he did shoot 45% from the field, so he has a little bit of work on his jump shot, but I feel like he's right there. He has a lot of upside, and he could be just as good as anybody else in this draft.
All right, I said Barrett, number 3 to the Knicks as well. He can drive very well with his left hand and finish in contact. That's probably the best part of his game, getting to his left and finishing with contact down at the rim. He's inconsistent shooting, but it seems like when he sets his feet, he can actually knock down his jump shot. His passing is decent, but he needs to become smarter with basketball IQ, and that's just more or less just continuously playing the game, learning how his teammates play. If he gets some of those things down, he could be a perennial all-star, and he could be also one of the best two-way players in the game because he has such good length and he's a good perimeter defender.
So for my number 4, assuming the Pelicans stay at number 4, I have DeAndre Hunter going from UVA. And he is an incredible defender. He averaged 15 points a game, shooting 48% from threes, but he did not take that many three-point shots. He's also ranked as the second best small forward behind R.J. Barrett. And he has long arms, phenomenally athletic kid, and he's going to be a star.
Okay, I actually have a different pick here. I have Jarrett Culver. I think they're going to move down regardless, but if they stay at this pick, Jarrett Culver makes the most sense. He can be probably one of their better scoring options since he can actually create his own shot. And he's one of the best perimeter defenders in all of college basketball. So having him and Zion and Lonzo Ball defending together as a team with Jrue Holiday would be very good. Now onto the Cavs.
So I have Jarrett Culver going here. And Big 12 Player of the Year, 6'7", ranked as the best shooting guard in the country, and I think he'll fit very well, and he's gonna also be a great player in the league.
All right, then I have the Cavs taking DeAndre Hunter, although I think they may move down as well. Hunter was one of the best defenders in college basketball. He has great size and length, and his game actually transitions really well to the NBA early because he can actually shoot a good three ball, which is surprising because a lot of college kids can't, and he's a good defender already. So even if he just stays at that and doesn't grow, he could be a good 3 and D player in the NBA right away, which is why I think he's so valuable right now. And then I think that people believe like he has a potential to grow like a guy like Paul George or Kawhi Leonard.
I have Garland going to the Suns next. And despite the injury, he did average 16 points per game. He shot 53% from the field, so he has a good jump shot. Obviously, everyone's going to be working on their jump shot, making sure that they're hitting shots no matter where they are. He also shot 48% from three. So he kind of has a good base shot to go off of to just work on his game. And DeAndre Ayton is on record saying that they do need another point guard. So I think he's their guy.
Well, they need a point guard because you don't want Booker bringing up the ball. You want him playing as an off-ball scorer. So I said I also have the Suns taking Darius Garland. I think he could arguably be the best point guard from this class. Although his sample size is small at Vanderbilt due to injury, he is your ideal modern-day NBA point guard because he's a score-first guard. He can shoot the lights out, and he's surprisingly, like I said, one of the best shooters in college basketball. And he could get to the rim. Not to mention he's also actually a good passer and has good basketball IQ.
I have Kobe White going next to the Bulls. He is an extremely quick player. Played for, obviously, one of the top teams, UNC. He fits the Bulls, and they do really need a guard, whether that be Darius Garland or Kobe White. And his jump shot could improve a little bit, but if he does improve that jump shot, he can shine in years to come. And he is excellent at finding the rim, and he also has a decent passing ability, which will help him when he gets to the league. I think Kobe White's going to be a great pick for the Bulls.
Okay, so I said this also, but I think I have a little bit more detail of an explanation. So Kobe White was one of the most surprising players in college basketball this year. He was recruited. He was from North Carolina, so he obviously went to UNC because he was one of the best players in the state. Played well in the system. He has probably the best pace of any player in this draft to play at the NBA. He's so quick, and UNC played with a really quick pace, and that's what it's going to be like in the NBA. So he transitions extremely well to the NBA. He can get to the rim with his amazing speed. Although he's not the strongest kid in the world, and he probably needs to bulk up a little bit, his speed is really is going to help him in the NBA. If he can knock down his jumper a bit more consistently, like he did against Florida State, he will be a top 10 NBA point guard in my eyes for years to come. And I think that the Bulls really just need a point guard. Chris Dunn's not the answer, so that makes the most sense there.
I have Reddish going next. Reddish, I think, is a really well built physically. He's built for basketball. He has incredibly long arms. He really does not have a jump shot, though. But I think if you work on that, he has the talent in him. The sky's the limit. And I think he looked pretty comfortable taking a backseat to Zion and Barrett. And that could help him playing off of Trae Young, kind of grow into a player. And I think he'll be a good second or third option on the Hawks.
Yeah, I also have Cam Reddish here. I said he didn't play well. Duke is the third scoring option because he basically just sat in the corner. When he was going there originally, it was just him and RJ, so he felt probably in his eyes he'd be the second scoring option. And I think he could definitely create his own shot. We just didn't get to see him do that at Duke. He shot the deep ball, the three ball decently well and defended pretty well, which he's also a good defender, a perimeter defender. I think Cam will be one of the best from this draft, though, because his game fits the NBA already. He could shoot the three ball decently well and play good defense. And this could be a perfect pick for the young Hawks team because they have a guy like Kevin Huerter who's a good shooter. They have Trae Young, obviously. John Collins down low. They really need a small forward, though, that can actually score the basketball. So I think Cam Reddish at 8 makes a lot of sense.
I think he's really overlooked.
But I think they'll move up anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I think Cam Reddish is really overlooked just because he didn't perform well with Zion and RJ Barrett. I have Nasir Little going to the Wizards. I do think the Wizards need a wing, and I think Nasir Little will be that guy. He averaged 7.8 points per game. Oh, I'm sorry, no, he did not. He averaged Oh, I don't have his average. Okay, so what I have is trashing Seko Doumbia because I personally think that is the worst pick you could make here. The guy played in the French league, and he averaged 7.8 points per game.
They always take one random foreigner in the top 10.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't
dude.
matter who it is.
You can't.
There's always a random foreigner in the
How?
top 10.
How could you
Next
pick
year
a-
is going to be Theo Malden. It was Tingus Pingus, and now Sekou Doumbia, number 9 overall.
How could you pick a guy average 7.8 points per game from the French league? It's not like Doncic, who was averaging 12, 5, and 5. Sekou's averaging 7.83 and not even 1 assist a game.
Okay, so but why? Like, what makes Naz a little better? Like, I get it, he went to UNC, but he was a
I
six
just
man.
feel like
He was a 6-man at UNC. He can't shoot, and he was a 6-man at UNC, and he was recruited as one of the top 10 players in the nation, and he couldn't even get himself in the starting 5 over Luke May. Luke May's horrible.
I have a little more of a trust for the college basketball programs
Yeah,
than
than
the
Atlanta
French league,
Yeah.
putting up 7.8 points per game in the French league.
Okay.
Come on.
So,
You can't just pick a guy like that high.
okay, so now I'll talk about Sekou Doumbia, who I have the Wizards taking, but I think they'll move down as well. He's good. He's very athletic. He's got huge hands. He's still only 18 years of age, and I think he's a decent shooter. His strength and length will be big down the line because the Wizards are desperate for a front court player that can actually space the floor. So I mean, he's got a good body build because he's a size, strength. He's already strong, and he's length. He's got a good wingspan. So I don't know if it makes sense, but it seems like
it's
there's
more
always
of
a foreign guy picked in the top 10 every year.
I think
So
it's more of what he could be than what he is. I just don't understand. 7.8 points per game in the French league.
okay,
All right, I have Bol Bol, and I think Bol Bol is literally a demigod. He's 7'3". He could get down low. You're not gonna get up and over him. He's gonna out rebound you. He averaged 21 points and 9.6 rebounds a game, and he shot over 50% from the
yeah,
field.
but he's another guy with a small sample size, so it's hard to judge his production in college based off him only playing a couple of games.
He played 20 games.
He was injured.
He still played 20 games.
Yeah, he was still injured.
I
You didn't see him play at a highest level. You
Well,
didn't see him
the
play.
tournament.
You didn't see him
Right.
play against actual Pac-12 competition. You didn't see him
Right.
play in an actual tournament. He played against a bunch of scrub schools on the West Coast.
Okay, remind me who you have as your last pick.
I have Bol still,
Exactly.
but I don't think Bol is going to be taken. I think Jackson Hayes is going to be taken just because Bol doesn't fit the Hawks because Bol has the best has the most potential obviously because he played well in those games and he has a good he's more of a Porzingis guy who will move to the 5 just because of his shooting ability and can stretch the floor and his height. But Jackson Hayes will probably be the pick here for the Hawks. It's not as risky and it makes a little bit more sense.
I think Bol could be that high, but I don't know if teams are willing to take the risk. I do have Bol because I think somebody will jump on him, seeing his height, his stature, what he's done so far at Oregon.
Nah,
And the
he'll fall in the late teens. People don't like the injury. People are worried about him.
All right, on to some free agency rumors. But first, we're going to talk about the Anthony Davis trade.
So Davis was traded to the Lakers for Lonzo, Ingram, Harden, 2 first-rounders. The Pelicans hold picks 1 and 4 this year now, like we mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick, who do you think won the trade?
I think that depends whether you look short-term versus long-term.
Well,
So-
who do you think won the trade?
I think it was a pretty fair set-off trade for what they have. Obviously, you could see by what they got, the Pelicans are looking to win in the long term. But having LeBron James there approaching the end of his, not so much the end, but he doesn't have that much time left. He's not going to play for another 10 years. So they want to win now. It's clear. They cleared house for Anthony Davis. But I think the Pelicans want to win, over the course of the next few years. So in a sense, we're talking in the future, the Pelicans got a really good end of the deal. I mean, you can't really compare it just with Anthony Davis. They got so much out of that. But you want to win now? I think that Anthony Davis and the Lakers won that trade. What about
See,
you?
I'm on the other end. I don't think Anthony Davis is the right player to pair with LeBron because, as we know, LeBron needs shooters around him, not just somebody that will stand and clog the paint. Because that's all Anthony Davis is going to do. You need guys who could space the floor with LeBron. Like I said, not clog the paint because that's where LeBron's going to be driving as your like top ball handle every time. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good for pick and roll, but Anthony Davis still needs post touches to produce on the offensive end. He's just like any other big man in the NBA does. I think Lonzo and Ingram are going to develop better on a team where they can actually take the role as like a ball handler, and like Ingram could
I
take the
agree
role
with
as an
that.
actual scorer. Josh Hart I think sucks, but I mean it is what it is. And then you get a load of picks, a couple swaps, a couple unprotected picks. Number 4 this year, which is good. But I think with 1 and 4, Lonzo, Ingram, I don't even count Hart as part of the trade. Then if they could bring back Julius Randle, or maybe there's rumors that they might try and get Bradley Beal for the 4th pick and Drew Holiday. I think it makes sense. So I think New Orleans won the trade. Now another question I have for you is: do we think that the Pelicans can make the playoffs with this team?
I think if they figure it out and they all click into place, I do think they could. I do think they have, even just with the guys coming from the Lakers. I mean, even it just being the little time they've spent in the league, they've learned a lot. I think that they could lead the rookie class coming in, and I think they could make a push for the playoffs. Rather, I don't think they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs.
Probably be a
Or,
first round
you
exit.
know,
But as a young team like that, you just want
Right.
to see them grow together.
And
I
gain
think that having
experience. And
all
they're,
your whole starting
your
lineup
entire
basically
team is young.
under the age of 25.
and they're all going to learn how to play
Besides
with each
Drew
other.
Holiday,
and-
yeah.
Yeah. I think the Pelicans are going to be absolutely
They'll make the
incredible.
playoffs probably, but like as a lower seed.
Mhm.
So now I want to ask you another question. Who do you think the Lakers should pursue with the only $23 million that they have left this offseason? They've been interested in Kemba Walker and Kawhi.
I think they should heavily pursue Kemba Walker.
See, this is where I extremely disagree. Because with only $23 million, you should target
Right.
guys.
They can't get.
You should target actual role players.
Yes.
Like JJ Redick, Danny Green, Brooke Lopez.
Shooters.
To space the floor for LeBron, which they needed in the first place, which they didn't get yet. That will make sense. I think I think Danny Green would be someone that's perfect. Same with Brooke Lopez, who they got rid of. But I think with $23 million, you're gonna get
a stud.
you're getting $4 million back from Anthony
Right.
Davis. You have $27 million. I don't know how many of those guys you can get with that small amount of money.
Yeah, that's.
But you could sign a few guys. Like I'm sure JR you can maybe get for a vet minimum. Maybe Carmelo Anthony. But how far do you think the Lakers can go in the playoffs, based with the LeBron and Anthony Davis?
Well, once again, you'd
duo.
have to see how they click together. If like you said, it's trouble with the paint clogged up and they can't figure out how to play together. I do think they could make the playoffs this year. I think they most likely definitely will. But if they find out how to play together well and they get the floor spaced like he said, or they figure out how to play with Anthony Davis down low more, they could potentially make a decent run, make it to the finals. Who knows?
I mean, hold on. Let me get back to the Pelicans here, though. The first thing I want to say is they're going to struggle big time to shoot the basketball. Although I think they're going to be really good defensively, Lonzo can't really shoot. Ingram's not a great shooter. Zion's not a great shooter. Julius Randle is
You don't
a
know how
decent
Zion's
shooter.
going to be in the league. I mean,
Yeah, but he's not. He was never a great shooter in college.
That's true.
And Drew Holiday's a decent shooter, but and number 4, Culver is not a great shooter either. So they're going to struggle offensively because they'll struggle to space the floor, which you need in the modern day NBA. But they'll be very good defensively. With the Lakers, like I said, you got to sign role players that can space the floor for LeBron with the rest of this $23 million. You only have 5 players currently on the roster, and only 4 of them, or even 3 of them, are serviceable. I don't think keeping Kuzma, they say Kuzma's a good shooter, but he had the second worst 3-point percentage in the NBA last year. So, you keep him, you'll have a pretty big lineup on the floor. Anthony Davis playing center, Kuzma playing power forward, LeBron playing
Kuz
small
is big,
forward.
LeBron's big.
So you could sign 2 good shooters. We'll see. But
I do think if they click, they could. What do you think? They can make it.
I see like a 4 or 5 seed realistically. I don't see anything higher than that.
I think they can make a decent run.
I don't know about a run. Maybe win 1 or 2 rounds. I don't see them making the conference finals in
It's
my
a
eyes.
decent run, if you ask me.
Well, for the first year, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But
Well, it depends on how they all
You only
click
have so
together.
much time. Yeah.
Right.
So LeBron's already 34.
Yeah. So I think it's growing more and more widely accepted. Kyrie Irving is most likely on his way to Brooklyn, right at the start of July 1st. And if the Nets do sign Kyrie, they plan on moving on from D'Angelo Russell. So what do you think about that?
I'm kind of confused here. Kyrie's proven that he can't lead a team, and the Celtics made a better run in the playoffs without Kyrie being there.
Isaiah Thomas being there too.
But I just don't. I don't get it. D'Angelo Russell's to only 24 years of age, while Kyrie's going to be 28, I believe. But D'Angelo Russell was with your team last year. He led you to the playoffs. Like, what did you expect? They weren't expected to make the playoffs. They were expected to be one of the worst teams in the NBA.
I feel like even going to the playoffs there, they look to Russell as a leader even more.
Yeah,
rather than having Kyrie come and
especially since he's your best player, but he's still young. I could see why they're kind of shining away, going away from him because he's going to want a max contract. He's pretty inefficient though, to be honest, and he's not a great passer. He shot 39% from the field, and he's not like I said, he's not a great passer. But Kyrie's kind of like the same player, just a little bit older and a little bit better of a scorer. So I can see, but I don't get it. I mean, originally they said that they wanted to pair Kyrie with D'Angelo Russell. Now they don't. So we'll see. But a team like the Pacers have expressed interest in D'Angelo Russell. So I think that'd be a good backcourt, him and Oladipo. They need another scorer on that team. And the Knicks and Celtics also could be in the market for a point guard with Kyrie leaving and the Knicks having a hole there because I don't think Dennis Smith Jr. is the answer. But do you think with the Nets having Kyrie instead of D'Angelo Russell, they'll win more? And do you think he's a better leader than D'Angelo Russell?
I don't think they'll win more.
So you think they'll be the same old seed that they were?
I think they'll either be the same seed or they'll do a little bit worse. I mean, I just kind of feel
I don't
like
see how they can get that much
with Kyrie coming in there trying to do his own thing, play his own game. I just don't know if they're really gonna take kindly to that per se. I don't think that they're gonna like the way that Kyrie's gonna try and run the team when he just got there. You know, he's not much older than everyone. I think they, like I said, going to the playoffs this past year with Russell, I think that it kind of brought the team a lot closer together. You know, a young team that wasn't supposed to be good. D'Angelo Russell kind of makes a move in the right direction with everyone. You make the playoffs. I think that was probably one of the better things that could have happened with that team. I think that would kind of make them a little skeptical about Irving coming in. I don't think that would make them win that many more games with Kyrie.
So what would be your expectations of the win standpoint for the Nets this year?
I'd probably say just about even.
As last year?
Yeah, just about the same.
I mean, they were the 6th seed last year. I can see them maybe going up a little bit. Depends on who else they sign. I think they're going to sign Tobias Harris, so they'll get better from that aspect at least. But like I said, I'm really confused because D'Angelo fits a Nets young core much better than Kyrie. They got rid of Allen Crabbe, which I liked to clear up some cap space. Thing? No, because you could just sign Russell to a max who's younger. I'd rather give
making more money, bigger name.
I guess, but D'Angelo Russell's name was going to grow. I mean, like he never really got to show his potential and be a number one option until last year. But I think they'll sign Tobias Harris with Kyrie and move on from Russell, which I think is, like I said, it's confusing. But that's the way it's going to be, and you know, it is what it is. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Knicks. Now with KD going down and Kyrie likely headed to Brooklyn, what does New York do in free agency? The Knicks have made it clear that they will not sign a second-tier free agent unless they sign a guy like Kevin Durant to which would be better for the Knicks if they sign a second-tier free agent with Durant to have a second scoring option. Do you think they go after a young guy like D'Angelo Russell now that he's on the market, or Julius Randle who just declined his player option?
I think
do they build through the draft like the Hawks have been doing?
I think with Kevin Durant going there, I think they try and get D'Angelo Russell.
Do you think?
I do.
I mean, I don't know. At this point,
they try and blow some money, stack the team up a little bit.
At this point, it seems like it's a disaster. I think they'd be lucky at this point to sign one of D'Angelo Russell or Julius Randle. They just better hope that Knox, Robinson, Trier, and all these young guys develop a lot quicker than they expected. Because I don't think it's going to be as everyone expected originally. It's kind of like a curse. See him go down. It kind of was expected that he was going there before the injury, but now we don't know. Even though they said it's his last resort for his player option, the Knicks would still offer him the max contract. It just doesn't really make sense.
Right.
They said supposedly that him and Kyrie met in the city. I don't know how true that report is or how believable that is. Will Kyrie try and swam to Brooklyn since he's actually going to play next year? Or will he, I don't know. We'll see. I think maybe he'll end up with the Warriors back in, opting in.
I think if he was going to leave, I don't think he would go with Kyrie.
I don't know.
I don't even think Kyrie would try and pull him. Kyrie wants to lead his own team. With Durant there, you're taking a backseat.
Yeah, but he will never win leading his own team. He'll never win being the best option on the team.
He said it when he left the Cavaliers. I want to do my own thing. He saw how it
But
went.
he'll never win. His team will never win with him being the best scorer.
He's going to have to eat his words then if he wants to try and pull somebody. But in that case, once again, why do they move on from Russell if, he wants guys there to help him win and he's not too worried about leading his own team? That's another part
that
that's
doesn't make
confusing.
sense. So let's continue with NBA free agency rumors. The Lakers are targeting Kemba and Kawhi. Like I said, I think that's a bad idea. You don't want to add a third superstar. You already have two. You want guys who can. You're going to spend all your money on those guys, and then what are you going to sign? 11 guys to vet minimum contracts? That's not going to work. So like I said, I think they're better off just signing 2 or 3 key free agents that are good role players, space the floor, shoot the three, play a half decent defense. Next, Kawhi is interested in joining the Clippers or staying in Toronto. What do you think Kawhi does?
He'd be a fool to leave.
Yeah, I think so. I think after winning a championship, you'd be.
How do you leave once you win a ring?
Yeah, I don't see what. I could see because the Clippers have some good young players like Montrezl Harrell and Landry Shamet, but it just doesn't make sense. Next, the report has came out that D'Angelo Russell is not an option for the Phoenix Suns. Although him and Devin Booker are close friends, seems like he doesn't want to play there in free agency. They have a lot of work to do. They've struggled in the draft. They hit on some picks, but they've also failed on guys like Josh Jackson and Dragon Brender, the Crescent Moon. Next, Whiteside opted into his contract, but he could be on the move. He's going to make about $26 million on a one-year deal this year. I'm not sure who's going to want to sign Whiteside, but the Heat are definitely interested in trading him. Al Horford opted out. He was due to make about $25 to $30 million also, but he opted out so he could take less money. The Celtics are trying to bring him back for a couple more years before he retires. In other news, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is on his way out of Brooklyn. He's kind of an overrated player for the Nets. Was never really good at anything. And Patrick Beverley will meet with about 5 teams in free agency before he reconsiders staying with the Clippers. So out of all these things you see here, Rick, what do you think you'd like to go into?
I think that first I kind of want to say I think that the Lakers probably should not go after anybody. I think see how everything rolls with Anthony Davis and LeBron, because you never know, they could become a really huge dynamic duo and they could really crush it. I don't think adding another guy that might create conflict, friction with the team. One guy wants the ball more, but the other superstar is getting it. I don't think that would be a good idea. I do agree with that. How about Patrick Beverley? What do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to stay with the Clippers. Beverley's kind of one of the most underrated players in the NBA. He fits the 3-and-D role really well. He's a pain in the ass. He's a scrappy kind of player that gets in your head and causes problems. And then in another news, like Graf said, Harrison Barnes has opted out of his $25 million player option, which makes absolutely no sense. Where does this guy think he's going to get $25 million? Somewhere else? He sucks. So he should have stayed with the Mavericks. I'm sure they're really happy that he opted out. I would be too when you have Luka and Porzingis to build with going forward. We'll see. But now we're going to do a quick Q&A. So if any of you guys have any questions, we'll answer them quickly. And then I just want to touch on this also. I'm going to talk about my top 5 draft sleepers and why. First off is Tyler Hero from Kentucky. He's a shooting guard. He's a really good shooter, and he can create his own shot. And I think that transitions really well in the NBA. You got to be able to shoot the ball. Next, talk about Shamorie Ponds from St. John's. He was their leading scorer, good passer, good defender. I think he's just going to be a good value pick in the late second round. Next, Ty Jerome, Virginia's point guard. He could fit the Malcolm Brogdon role really well for the Bucks, maybe somewhere late in the first round. I think he's a guy who's a good shooter, decent shot creator, good defender. He's committed to playing in a system. Next is Kevin Porter Jr. from USC. He was a really good college basketball player, but he never really panned out played to his full potential because he had a lot of problems in college. He has a lot of behavior issues. And then Kyle Guy from Virginia. We all saw what he did in the national championship. Very efficient scorer, really good shooter, pure shooter. All right, so now let's get to some of the questions. Who's better, Kobe White or Darius Garland? I actually think that Darius Garland is substantially better. I think he might be one of the most underrated players in this draft. But that's my opinion. Let's see.
Thoughts on Karl Malone? One of the greatest ever.
All right, so that's gonna be it for us today. We didn't have any really serious questions, so we can't really give you guys an answer. If you have any draft questions, we like to answer them, but none of these questions.
Why is Rick so stupid? I don't know. I can't.
Okay, well, can you ask serious questions if you want us to go over them? Thoughts on Bruno Fernando? Okay. I think he'll be drafted in the late first round. Fernando's like a decent midi shooter. He's a really good rebounder, but I don't think he'll be that. Like, he's really got to develop a shot outside of mid range and to be good in the NBA as a big. I think he can be good because he's really athletic and he's like a freak, but he's a great rebounder. But he's got to develop a 3-point shot to be good in the NBA. He'll be an average player. Carson Edwards. I mean, he's been in college for so long. Like, how much better will he get in the NBA? That's why he's projected to go so late. We don't know. Like he's also very undersized, so he's a really bad defender.
Kind of off topic. How many home runs will Albert Pujols finish with?
He's Gramps now, though. He's
so
horrible now.
old.
He's horrible.
What does he have?
Rick, do you think the Lakers would sign Kemba Walker?
Well, considering I sort of contradicted myself.
Okay, so give us a firm stance on what you think the Lakers should do.
Should they sign Kemba Walker?
Well, should they sign a max free agent or should they spend the money elsewhere and sign
now
multiple
that
guys?
seeing what your idea is, no, I don't think they should sign a max.
So you're being influenced by others?
I guess you kind of put the idea in my head. Now I'm thinking about it more.
You don't need 3-star players to win a championship. It's always a good thing, but do the Clippers have the best future? I don't
Pelicans.
think so. The Clippers are going to strike out in free agency.
Pelicans have the best future right now.
All right, we'll do a few more. Pacers, if they sign D'Angelo Russell, they'll be a lot better. They're going to lose Bojan because he's going to want a substantial amount of money. Miles Turner's on a big contract. They should bring back Sabonis. Alex Len. Oh, we were talking about this earlier. Alex Len is horrible, okay? He doesn't do anything well. I've seen him miss multiple layups in the same offensive possessions, so I don't get it. Who knows about Alex Len, though, man? He's horrible. I still don't know how he has a career in the NBA.
I just want to answer the question, how many home runs will Albert Pujols finish with? He currently has 645. I think he finishes with
667.
I was going to say about 670.
Okay. We have a few good questions here. Rick, do you think the Magic will make the playoffs again? You gonna answer?
What do you think?
Probably not. I think the Magic was a fluke thing. When you have DJ Augustine as your starting point guard, I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs.
I see Yelich or Bellinger.
Yelich or Bellinger?
Yelich. Absolutely Yelich.
Absolutely Yelich. Yeah, I agree with that. Yelich has been more consistent over the past few years. Bellinger just... Rick, can you name one player on the Magic?
Can I punch you in the face?
He cannot.
Flo Thamba.
Okay, so we're going to end on that note. We'll do... Actually, fuck it. We'll do a few more.
Yankees injuries. Stanton's coming back tonight.
Yeah, the Yankees are probably going to win the World Series.
They are. There's nothing you could say about that. If they sign pitchers, they're winning the World Series.
Is Stan going to hit a home run today?
First at bat.
Nah, he'll strike out 3 times today.
He struck out 3 times in the fucking minors.
Encarnacion's good. He has 21 home runs already this season.
That's like 250.
Well, he either hits a home run or he strikes out. That's what it is.
That was kind of like
It's basically
Judge.
like Joey Gallo, yeah.
That was kind of like Judge, too. He had the most.
How many teams would Spencer Dinwiddie be a starter on? That's actually a good question. I think Dinwiddie be a starter on about 6 teams. Very low-tier teams like Kings, Suns, Mavericks. Who's better, the Knicks or the Clippers? Well, the Clippers played better last year, but they're irrelevant. And they'll always be the Lakers' baby brother.
Oof. Joey Gallo.
We'll do 2 or 3 more. Yeah, this is the first year Joey Gallo's hitting like above 250.
Sharif O'Neal.
Sharif O'Neal's going to be good.
He's going to be a monster.
UCLA is going to be a top 25 team in the nation.
That kid, I said that kid's going to be an absolute monster.
They'll make a good run of the tournament.
He is huge.
This question's strictly for Rick. Will the Mets trade DeGrom?
No.
No, yeah, I don't. They just signed him to a big 5-year contract. I don't think that makes sense.
How about Bol
Bol Bol's gonna be good.
I
Bol
gave
Bol's
my
gonna be
thoughts
good.
on Bol Bol.
He'll be
Pablo Escobar.
late teens, early 20s for Bol Bol. He's a good shooter.
Cass, what's your opinion on Pablo Escobar?
No opinion.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck could chuck all the wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Okay, so they want us to talk about G-Man Choi.
No, how about the
his face is enormous. He looks like a baby. He's batting 270 though, and he has a decent OBS, and he's not making over $1 million. So G-Man Choi is a decent MLB player.
How about Hyun Ryu?
Young Ho Gong is my favorite though. Hyun Ryu is one of the most underrated pitchers in the MLB.
Incredible. He's incredible. He threw for like 13 Ks the other night.
Yeah, he pitched phenomenal.
He did really well. It
was Sunday Night Baseball.
His ERA is 126.
Yeah, he's a Cy Young candidate already.
He's nuts, dude.
All right, we'll do 2 more.
Why?
How about the Wade family at the Miami Pride Parade?
Is that true?
We'll leave that for a further note.
Wait, is that actually true?
Yeah, that is. We'll leave that for another time.
Interesting.
Let's get some draft questions. Rick, do you think that the Jazz can win the finals? I'll change that to playoffs if they. No, do you think the Jazz can win the finals if they trade for Mike Conley?
No.
Well, he'll probably end up with the Jazz because the Grizzlies want to move him. But I mean, it's better. Anyone's better than Ricky Rubio. He's horrible. He shouldn't even be a starting point guard in the NBA. Now we'll talk about the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson's a good young piece. You got guys like Joakim Noah and Chandler Parsons there who don't need to be there. You're going to get John Morant, be one of the most exciting young point guards in the NBA.
Vince Carter, he's actually Gramps. O.J. Simpson on Twitter.
That's another thing. We should discuss that for a second. Why is this guy making a Twitter? He's already done so many bad things, and it's just going to get him in more stupid legal trouble than he has to be in.
He got hacked already.
Yeah.
Did you see that? What did he tweet?
That's just a tough scene. If Vince is in the dunk contest, I think he'll blow out his back.
Not even his knees.
He'll blow out his back.
O.J. Simpson got hacked and said, "I could set the record straight. I killed her." That's interesting. That's why you don't make
OJ shouldn't have made a Twitter. He's already in too many legal problems.
And I'm pretty sure in his first video, he was like throwing his finger at the screen, saying like, "I'm gonna set the record straight. Like I'm on here to set the record."
All right,
straight.
so we'll talk about John Morant a little bit more. His NBA comparison may be Russell Westbrook, except he can actually shoot. He's very quick. And like I said, him playing in the tournament on such a high level is like pushes him over the edge as a good draft prospect. Can Zoe, Drew, Zion, Bi, and Randall win a chip? Maybe
in a few years,
3 or 5 years down the line. Thoughts on Daniel Jones? I don't see why everyone's hating on him.
Where do you see?
He literally changed Duke's football program entirely around to a top 25 team in the nation. We got to see him play an NFL game before we judge him.
Where do you see?
Will the Grizzlies ever title? I'm a huge fan of Memphis and want my team to win a title. Grizzlies will three-peat with John Morant. Well, you're really off on that one. I don't think they'll ever win. They're always a 7 or 8 seed. It's a small market team. It's tough.
What do you see in Russell Westbrook?
I just see speed. Speed and athleticism.
I think it's pretty hard to match that.
Thoughts on Nick Collison? I don't know why his jersey number got retired with the Thunder.
We went over that, didn't we?
Yeah, no, Nick Collison. We didn't go over that. He averaged like 6 points a game for the Thunder, and he got his jersey number retired. It makes no sense. Better comparison is De'Aaron Fox. I can see that. Anthony Costanza, one of the best left tackles in the NFL. Anthony Costanza. Colts offensive line is very underrated. Adam Morrison, his ring should be taken away because he's so bad at basketball. Kings making the playoffs. No. Luke Kuechly, one of the best. Maybe Bobby Wagner's better. Second best middle linebacker in the NFL. 30 seconds here. King's young core, Rick.
King's young core.
Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley.
I like Marvin Bagley. I think if he shapes up, I think he could really help.
Fox grew a lot this year. I want to see a little bit more of Bagley.
Swipe of the Fox.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to end the stream today. Ciao.
Is it...